2017, Sheriff's Office chose P.D. Taylor to serve as the interim sheriff until voters had a chance to choose a new leader for the agency. After Sheriff Russell's retirement, his decision to retire comes when his office was under investigation for questionable spending practices. From the county's medical expenses to the architectural renovation needed at the county jail building, how do you plan to go about not making the same mistakes made by the sheriff before you?
The thing you have to do is you have to be ultra involved. You have to up that level of transparency. You have to show the community where you do good and where you do bad. I truly think that's how you do it, especially being fiscally responsible. Our citizens deserve to know where their money's going. What we did in the first of our administration, we had an audit performed purely because I requested it. They came in, they did a complete audit of all our assets. The number that they were unable to locate, 6.9 million, I believe, that's a large figure. And it's hard to tell a community that, especially when they trust you with the money to purchase these assets. And what I will say is, albeit it's hard to do that, they still deserve to know. And I think when you say, hey, I'm going to give you all of me, I'm going to give you the good, I'm going to give you the bad, I think from that you earn, people's trust, you earn your citizens' trust. And that's how you get away from making those mistakes of the past. Instead of hiding it and hoping it doesn't get out, just put it out there. Put it out there.
So is it something where we can log onto a website or something to where we can see this?
And I'm glad you brought that up. We just hired a new financial director. Her ability to break numbers down from a CPA mindset to the layman term is absolutely genius. What we're going to do is create forms and stuff that you can go to our Facebook. You can look at what we've spent this month, the purchase requests made, where that money went, what it went to purchase. This is that transparency that the taxpayers ask for. And I will tell you, it's already there because everything that we purchase has to go through the Board of County Commissioners to be approved and then signed off on. But a lot of times, you got people, they're busy, they have lives, they don't have time to delve through these 20, 30, 40-page documents to see what the sheriff's office purchased with this money. So what we're going to do is we're going to take it a step further. We are going to break those numbers down so they don't have to go and look for them, and we're going to give it all to our community. That's ultra transparency that they deserve, and that's what I believe they expect of me, and what will get us from, the mistakes of the past.
Right on. I'm sure you've heard of the term defund the police.
Yes, sir.
The meaning behind the phrase has definitely been politicized. Most people with sense can agree getting rid of the police was never the intent behind that phrase. And if I may, I would like to ask the question and hopefully define the actual meaning behind the phrase. Would your administration be open to allocating funds from the annual budget to hire specialists in various practices, if you don't already have these people in place, to deal with either mental or psychological illness to assist police officers out in the field?
What we have done, because you have to look at our purview, and I tell people, we have to stay in our lane. Our job as law enforcement is to protect communities, to protect life and property. But in that, I understand we are the problem solvers for each and every community. Mental health has taken a hit with their funding. So who goes to those mental health calls now? Police. DHS takes a hit with their funding. Who goes and deals with those kiddos now? Who goes and mentors youth in our communities now? The police. We have, for years, for centuries, understood that where there's a void in the community, we must fill it. My profession has done that since its inception. But with that, what I plan on doing is making each and every one of our officers CIT certified. Maybe not all of them have the certification to be able to teach the class, but at least they have the CIT training so that they can implement these practices in the streets. I don't agree with defunding the police because I truly think it takes away from what our citizens really need, and that is police that are not well diverse, but more proficient in the disciplines that we're asked to be proficient in. Whether that's mental health, whether that's dealing with kiddos, whether that's SROs in the schools, whether that's tactics to keep us safe or slow things down when we handle situations in our communities. We need that funding instead of going to other people because they need the funding of their own. We need that funding to help our guys be trained and well equipped to get to those situations. Because I tell people like this, law enforcement is the foundation for each and every one of these other entities to be successful. If we don't have strong law enforcement, the mental health field won't be successful because somebody has to get there. Regardless of what anybody says, you can have somebody going outside of their mind, maybe in a manic state with a weapon or something. Are we really going to send somebody unarmed saying that they're going to go up there and talk this person down? I just don't think that's logical. I don't think that's safe. So we need law enforcement professionals who can go up there, handle the situation, make it a safe space, then get it to that mental health professional. Or take it from going into these homes where these kids are living in subpar standards, make the situation safe, then get them to DHS for them to do their job. I think instead of saying, hey, we want to take away from the police, we need our police to be well funded so we can be trained. We need to start focusing on how do we get mental health funded? How do we get DHS funded? Because like I said, we're the foundation for them to be successful because we provide that safety for them to do their job. And that's how I truly feel.
Absolutely, and that's a good point. And just to be clear too, to create more training, whether it's the psychological, mental for the police officers, so they can implement that while they're out there.
Yes.
I think that, that makes perfect sense.
I think it's something that's, first off, I don't think police were ever meant to get in the mental health training business,
Sure.
But once we saw the void because our mental health facilities, obviously the funding went there, so they went down. So now police have had to start having these interactions now more than we've ever thought. So since we're in this lane, let's start perfecting our craft. And that's where I know that funding comes in at. And if you ask me, I just don't think it's safe to send somebody in there who doesn't have the ability to make the situation safe to go into a situation as volatile as that and put themselves in harm's way.
I fully agree. And like you said too, that it also sounds like police officers would be receptive to the idea of maybe just, certain training that is allocated specifically to, the mental awareness and how to communicate with those type of folks.
Yes.
And then just kind of updating and refreshing that.
And see, it's funny you say that because in our yearly, because we have to continue education or to continue training that I was talking about, we have hours, a specific number of hours. I believe it's 4 to 6. I'd have to get back with you on the specific number or the exact number. But we already have hours dedicated each year that goes to mental health that you have to be in good standings with CLEAT, our accreditation agency. But like I said, we have to say, is this 2 hours, 6 hours work? And need to take it a step further and say, hey, we need to get more training in this because we deal with it more. And until we can get DHS or the mental health people up and running where they're funded at a higher level, if we're asked to take on that, I know each and every law enforcement officer across America says, I know I'm the problem solver for my community, and if that's what's asked of me, I will facilitate that need. But we just need to make sure we have the funds to be able to train our guys to facilitate that need.
There we go. Then if anything, then we need to just bring some professionals to the police department and they can train you guys.
And that's what we have a lot of times. We have, CIT, mental health professionals, DHS professionals come in and teach us their craft and and that way, when they get to the situation, now we know, what information they need, and it kind of, in many aspects, expedites the situation on their end because everything that they would have had to collect, we've already collected, and we've made the scene safe for them to come in and do their job.
Right.
So I think it works out well.
That's good
It
to
will
hear.
work out well once we get all on the same page.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Well, it's good to hear that the strategy is it's logical and it's realistic. Yeah.